Studios are set up, everything is connected, I'm editing a vlog and I'm just waiting for everything to begin right now. It's pleasantly calm so far, but you know, the night is still, morning is still young, I'm not quite sure which one of those.
Welcome to another episode of Toby Stupid Vlog.
Good blurry morning. It's too dark to focus and it's too early to focus, and I'm going back in for the Malaysian Grand Prix for the third day in a row and I just want to go to bed. Happy Sunday afternoon. We've just been for lunch, I finished my work for the day, and now we're going for a wander around the Duck Pond market. Hello, good afternoon. It's Monday, it's my weekend, it's finally started / ended. Back to work tomorrow. It's nice to get your body clock back to normality after working a couple of nights. It does mess with you a lot. I'll be doing the same thing next weekend, but not on the Friday, thank God. So, yeah, I'm not hugely looking forward to it, but you know, it's money. I'm just going to make the most of the days that I'm not working now, wherever I decide to put my weekend, which this week was today. Yes, it's not great. And I'm going to have Friday off as well, so Monday and Friday is my weekend. It's a bit confusing. Good morning. It is Wednesday, and it's supposed to be, originally it was supposed to be terrible this morning, and then they revised it and said, oh, it's going to be beautiful this morning. And now there's grey clouds, so I'm a bit confused, because I was going to go into Kew, which is where I'm heading, and then sort of wander around and make my way slowly to Vauxhall to see Neil and talk about the job tomorrow. And now I'm not sure whether I'm appropriately dressed. Actually, I think it's alright, it's just a bit grey. Sun's going to come back in a minute, I'm very optimistic. That is despite all of the nonsense that has been going on recently. And when I say nonsense, obviously I mean the murderous events in Las Vegas. I don't really think I have anything that I can add on this. I mean, don't know the motivations of somebody with that many guns other than to kill people, and everybody, bar a minority in the United States, knows that America's gun laws are out of date by a couple of 100 years. So I'm not going to think upon it any further. This country has enough problems with lack of leadership without worrying about other countries. So I'm going to enjoy my day, go about my business, and make the most of what I have. So I think that's the best way of dealing with stupidity on all sides. It is so autumnal right now. I know that seems silly, but it only takes a little bit of grey and a bit of wind, and suddenly the leaves on the ground and the lack of warmth, and you think, my God, where was summer? It seems ages ago. The strange thing is, like, as you can see, the chestnut trees are suffering because they have the rust, but the plane trees, some of them look like they're perfectly happy. Well, I'm going to go and have a look at the maples, because they're the ones that turn amazing traffic light colours, along with the cherries, but I think I missed some of the cherries looking at this one up ahead. Well, there's not many leaves on it, so we'll have to see. Look at that, autumn crocuses, aren't they awesome? It's like spring only in autumn. It's a bit confusing how you get a similar plant in spring and autumn seasonally, I mean, but it is awesome. And it allows me to take lots of Instagrams. Do you want to see a giant mushroom? I know you do. Here is a giant mushroom. Here's some scale. There's my foot. That is a mushroom. And there's another one. Isn't that crazy? And those are all the spores. So I'm running away now before I get turned into a giant mushroom myself. So this maple is looking rather good. As always, this is a sugar maple, although I've kind of missed it a little bit because, as you can see, a lot of it is on the ground. Some of these haven't really started. There's a bit of red up there, But it's very odd, like usually they're a bit more in sync, and this year not so much. So the sugar maple will be over in a week and I'll have to come back and see the rest. Oh well, any excuse. I'm now going to have a quick glance at the Temperate House, which is due to be reopened in the middle of next year, which is very exciting because it's such a long time since it closed. If you remember, it closed just about the time I left Global, and that will be 5 years in June. So it's such an enormous glass house, you kind of miss it when it's not here. The shroud has come off, it's looking rather resplendent. New glass going in, the new plaster is on. All of the pots around the brim have been repaired. I mean, this is going to look amazing. It's going to look very much like it did when it first opened, and you get really the feeling of the sort of Victorian splendour. But possibly my favourite building here in Kew is still under wraps. Thought this was supposed to reopen at some point in 2018 as well. I don't know if there's an update. It still looks kind of like a stack of loo rolls at the moment. Right, I need to head off and go and say hello to everyone at WebVid. Before I do that, I'm going to do the thing that I always do when a tree is cut down in Kew, which is stand on the stump and get a view that only the tree has had for our last number of years. Effectively a new view in Kew. Try saying that a few times fast. Here we are once again on friendly Offley Road, where everything seems to be for sale or to let, but anyway, just approaching the WebVid office. Good afternoon, just barely. Today is the very definition of a beautiful autumn day, and I'm working this afternoon / evening at Grosvenor House Hotel, but before that I have a little bit of time to myself, so I've got to try and make the most of it. I've got to be in Vauxhall for 3:30 and I've got to eat, and these are all the important things that are occurring. I watched the Google announcement yesterday where they announced their new phones and their new Google Home devices and headphones, etc, etc, and some of it's very exciting. And the Google Home at less than £50 is very exciting to me. I still think, although Alexa and Amazon have kind of stolen the market, Google is actually a fair bit smarter as an assistant. So I'm thinking about that. But also the new phone. I mean, I wasn't intending on getting an iPhone this year, and I watched the iPhone announcement. I was thoroughly unamazed by both the iPhone 8 and the iPhone X, which is unbelievably expensive for what it is. And I really don't like Samsungs at all. I don't think they use Android in a very smart way, but the new Google phones, the Pixel 2, I have to say, I am quite tempted, and I'm just waiting to see what the official reviews come out like when they actually have the final models in their hand. But it's cheaper than an iPhone 8, the camera's probably better, and it's quite intriguing, so we'll have to wait and see. So, as I have done before, I missed German Day of National Unity, which is the 3rd of October, which commemorates the reunification of Germany when East and West were put back together. That's because I was busy being an idiot and faffing around doing F1 things. So it's a good day to have as a country, a day of national unity, especially nowadays where everything is so heavily politicised and partisan, and they've just had quite a nasty election where 13% of the population voted for a party that was openly racist. So a day of national unity is very much needed, I would say, and it's good to have one once a year. It's a shame that we can't bring ourselves to have something similar, but I don't imagine that some parts of this country feel particularly British, and I might include myself in that. It's very hard to be proud of something when you feel like it's completely broken. And the Scots probably don't feel much love for us either, which is fair enough. So, nice idea in principle, not sure if I could get behind it in practice. I just thought I'd give a bit of nods to my German ancestry nonetheless. So I'm going for a little walk to Mortlake Station to head into Vauxhall. And then I've got to pick up a load of kit and go to the Grosvenor House Hotel on Park Lane. I'll then spend the next 5 hours or so doing some tag printing, which is Instagram prints, and then I'll come home and I'll have Friday to myself until I have to go to bed really early, because you guessed it, Saturday morning, F1, I've got to be in the office for 3 a.m. So there will be a lot of Ubering between now and then. Regardless of what you think of Uber, that is really my only option as a self-employed person to make it actually work. So that is what will happen. Incidentally, I just did a little game which I found on, it was the Telegraph website, or somebody had done it, which is a virtual Uber driver, can you make enough money to live? Which, long story short, I did. And I did have it on easy mode, to be honest. But there was a presumption there that I found very strange, which was, it said that your housing costs a week were $1,000. Now, I don't know the state of the property market in San Francisco, and I'm sure it is quite an expensive place to live. But I live in London, which I can assure you is probably the most expensive place to live. So I'm very curious as to about what you think your housing costs are per week. All in, so that's your mortgage and or rent, and then your electricity, water, gas, and any telephony services. See if you can work it out, very ballpark, what your weekly costs are to live where you live. Not food or anything like that, just the property and the amenities that come into it. So to give you some context, $1,000 is about 750 quid, depending on which way the exchange rate goes, but it's currently about £750. So £750 a week. Now imagine that is the entire housing cost for the household, being supported by one earner. So I thought I'd compare that to mine. So in our household, we both put in equally, and we pay into a joint account once a month, and then that joint account pays out everything. Pays out the mortgage and all the utilities and what have you. And currently we're slightly overpaying into that account, so we're actually building up savings. But if I was to sort of take out the savings a little bit and do a little bit of rounding and presume a worst case scenario, and it works out as roughly, for the household, £300 per week. So less than half of what they were suggesting in San Francisco. I'm very curious as to what you might think yours are, because mine might be very, very low. That's a possibility, but don't forget, I am in one of the most expensive parts of London. Or theirs could be a massive overestimate, and maybe the truth lies somewhere in between, but £750 a week versus £300 a week is substantially different. So I'm curious to know where you fall on the spectrum. Welcome to the Grosvenor House Hotel. So, great room, as I said, getting ready for the Farmers Awards. It's looking quite magnificent. We're set up over here, doing some tag printer stuff. Here we are in darkest Vauxhall. Just walking back, dropped off the kit, having finished the job today. Lots of happy farmers, most of them quite drunk. And I'm going home to bed because of my weird work pattern that's coming up very shortly. So I'll see you in the morrow. It's another beautiful day in Kew. Only today I'm going to get out and about once I've had breakfast and make the most of this sunnyscape. Go and enjoy the autumn colours and whatnot. Right then, let's go and have a little exploration of what autumn looks like on a fine day like today. The cherries are turning, but haven't yet turned completely. It's quite warm actually. I'm quite surprised. I thought I'd forgotten to put a jacket on, but actually it turns out it's very pleasant indeed. It's actually a little bit busier in here than I was expecting today, although when the weather is as it is, it's not hugely surprising. It's probably a lot of locals who've just thought, damn it, why don't I just go now? And who can blame them? It's very nice. I'm not looking forward to the fact that I've got to be asleep in like 6 hours. But there we go. Making my way along the woodland walk. I'm going to try and get into my secret garden. But I just can't do it when anyone's watching because it's that secret. Something is fighting in there. I don't know what it is. Probably sounds a lot bigger than it is. Anyway, here I am, my little private garden. Very nice, there is no one about. There's Queen Charlotte's cottage through the mottled sunlight. Back in the swamps of Dagobah. Here's the mystery bench that nobody ever uses because nobody knows it's here. Because this isn't a path. But still, it's very nice. If you like that kind of lost in nature feel. There appears to be some sort of mushroom growing in amongst the holly. This is the massive branch I cleared like a couple of months ago. It still hasn't quite rotted down. But it's looking nice in the glade. It always looks nice in the glade, but it's ever so nice with the coloured leaves in the low sun. So my wandering continues down by the Lion Gate. They actually cleaned the line the other day, and the wonderful property that is to your left when you come into the gardens through Lion Gate, which is owned by Q, is actually on the market as a rental. It's a beautiful old 3-bedroom property with only one drawback, and that is that it costs £4,500 per month to rent. Right then, I was going to go into the Shirley Sherwood Gallery of Botanical Art, but they're installing the autumn exhibition and it doesn't open till tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll be probably asleep or at work or something. I've just turned down a filming job in Doncaster on Monday because I would like to have a little bit of a life this month. And also, you know, Doncaster. Do you remember how last time I said, I really hope I don't forget to do Word of the Week next time? Well, I did. That's why it's me again, from future, to give you the Word of the Week. And seeing as what I've done really is buy wine for next week's Treat Yourself Day, I think the appropriate Word of the Week is wine. Excellent. Wine in German is very simply der Wein. That is der as in masculine the, followed by Wein as in W-E-I-N, which is on the screen at the moment. That's very simple. Italian, you may know. It might be one of the few Italian words you actually know. It's also masculine. It's il vino, the wine. So there we go. You have a really random selection of words that you've been taught so far. Hopefully next week you might learn something a bit more useful, but no promises.
Toby Stupid Fun.